Hi, hello, hola, all of that good stuff. I, as you can tell, have been gone for months. Very classy, very consistent. I'm going to start right off by saying those videos that I had previous to this one, I'm still keeping up. But I think there's going to be a bit of a shift in the format of the podcast. I am going to be pretty unedited, like as much as possible, like to the point where I record this and it goes right up type thing. One of the reasons being because I don't have the best software for editing. I don't necessarily enjoy editing. If I had better software, I'm sure it wouldn't be a big deal. And I want this to be as raw and unfiltered, because if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do it. Rules are not something I've been too focused on recently, and I would love to get into that, so I'm going to write that down. But, yeah, so that's basically what's going to happen. This is going to be kind of a free-for-all and just nuts, I think. And I'm excited for it because I feel like this is going to be more comfortable for me and less stressful. Not that it was really stressful to begin with, but I just want to just fucking talk and upload it and not think that much about it, if that makes sense. So yes, I have been gone for, I believe, about 5 months. Maybe I'm wrong. I looked at my YouTube a long time ago, so I don't really know. Not that it even really matters. But hi. Yes, the last you heard from me, I believe that I was in Florida still, and the bitch was going through it. There's been a few changes, all good, and I'm still going through it, but I have a way better grasp on it, and I know what's going on. So, I am not in Florida anymore. We moved back to the home state of Michigan. And I'm indifferent. I am glad to be here. I like my location. I like that I'm outside a lot more. It's a summer. But there are things about Florida that I miss. And maybe we'll move back down there, who knows. But Kyle has graduated, so he is now a certified Harley technician. So very excited. Shout outs to my baby. Yeah, we've been doing pretty good. The move was decent. I think it was probably less stressful than the move down. I also think I left off before Christmas. And that would have been, still 2023. So I don't know if I had talked about this too much, but I had hurt my wrist down in Florida, and it was said to be a sprain. It turns out that it was one of those fractures that you don't see for about, like 2 weeks or so, and I had got it looked at that day, so then it just started to fracture out, and I had no idea. So I was in Florida for 5 months after that, because it happened in July, and then we came back up for the holidays, and I got an appointment to, sorry that I'm breathing heavy. My asthma's been really shitty because I've been smoking on top of the humid weather we've been having, so it's my fault, but just bear with me. I had an appointment for the wrist when we got back up here, and I figured that they were just going to tell me it was a sprain, keep icing it. I was very much incorrect. It happened to decay, so much so that I needed a bone graft from my hip. So they shaved down a part of my hip and put that into my wrist and packed that around a titanium screw. So that was January 26th that I had the surgery, and it was very unexpected. My whole plan going up there for the holidays was to be up there for the holidays, obviously, but at that time I was going to kind of move back in with my mom for a couple months and to get paid more up here and get my health taken care of while Kyle finishes up school, and I would have met him back down there in April. I had the surgery mid-February. Things were not working out at all with my living situation in my family, so I decided to pack up and go back down to Florida, and that was after my surgery, so I was still limping because of my hip, and I could not move my hand at all. It was honestly pretty terrifying in the sense that when you're a kid, I probably mentioned this, but I've broken my wrists, fractured and broken a total of like 9 times, all biking accidents, and all happened while being active. All of them happened. So when you're a kid, it's a lot different when you break your bones because, you know, you are in class and people are kind of babying you and everybody's signing your cast and shit like that. When you get older, shocker, it fucking sucks when you're hurt because there goes your fucking money, there goes your mental, there goes your physical, it just, everything goes to shit. So it was just not a good time, and I went back down to Florida. All my shit that was at my mom's was put into storage. I'm debating whether or not I would like to discuss that on my podcast or not. I will let you know that my intentions are to write possibly a poetry book. I've been working on it. I've filled up a whole notebook since being back. I wrote a couple poems in Florida, and then I've been writing a lot more since being back up here, so that's been really nice. And then I wanted to start this back up because I missed it, and no one really watches this or listens to it, I should say, but I just think that it's cool, and I think that, you know, this is the only platform that I have. I have Facebook because what did I get Facebook for? Oh, I got it because I was looking for cars, and then I got it also because I was like looking for side gigs. That's why I got Facebook in the first place. This is my only platform, and I've always enjoyed radio. I've enjoyed YouTube for probably 12 years now. So I love YouTube so much, and I always wanted to start something on it. I never knew what it would be, and I settled on the podcast and stuff, and then I kind of let it go because there was some stuff going on, but I'm glad to be back. And again, as per usual, I am going to lose my train of thought 24/7 and all the time while I'm recording. So it's just going with the flow type shit. But, yeah, writing. I intend to write a book. So, I'm still gonna think about whether or not I want to discuss some things, but probably not, just because, I don't feel like getting into it. And that kind of is a good segue for what I have to talk about. So I don't know if this is going to be the main theme or genre of this podcast. I'll say theme. I don't think that that's what this is going to be, but I've made a lot of self-discovery since I have last uploaded. And a lot of, I had said that I don't want to get into it. It's not that I don't want to get into it because it's the internet. That's a big part of it, because it's just like, the internet's creepy. But dwelling on my abuse and shitty life-ish, I guess, before I met Kyle, it doesn't do me any good. It is very educational for me, and it's great to look back and see where I came from, and to see how strong and amazing I am. But there's a big thing that everyone's doing these days, focusing on all their negativity and trying to fix it in therapy. And by all means, everybody needs to get their fucking ass in therapy, because if you don't think you've got something to work on, you do. But if you focus on that so much, if you're constantly negative, and I was for a very long time, it was how I was raised, and what came of me after I was grown, and that's something I had to figure out, how to not be a negative cunt. Difficult, but doable. Focusing on the negativity constantly doesn't do you any good, and I'm not saying that we need to ignore what's going on or anything. I'm just saying that it doesn't need to be your primary focus all the time, because when it is, it kind of just takes over your mood, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I made a lot of discoveries about my family before I went back to Florida. None of them listen to this. If they do, I find it funny, but they don't, so we're good. My family is, for protective purposes, not for them, but for me, we'll just say unsupportive, Irish Catholic, sweeping everything under the rug type beat, and filled with alcoholics and liars, and narcissists. So that narcissist thing that I just said, that's a term that's going around a lot lately, and I don't think that people, I guess we're going to get into this a little bit, but it's just for context, but people throw around this word narcissist, and they don't really know what it means, and they haven't themselves been through narcissistic abuse. It is not somebody just being vain. You understand? Like, it's not somebody wanting to only have pictures of themselves, or only wanting to do what they want to do in a group. That is definitely probably a bit of it. But narcissists feed off of people. I like to just think of it as a leech. You are a power supply to them, and it's all about control. So just imagine your whole life being controlled by somebody else. And when you're a child, that's definitely necessary, but to the extremes that I had, it's not. And when you couple that with alcoholism, it makes for a very difficult childhood. There we go. We'll just say that. And it makes for a lot of mental health issues that I consistently blamed myself for. And to a certain extent, you are to blame for how you react to things. You are in control of your judgments, your voice. You are in control of your actions. You're in control of all of that. So it all depends on you and how you want to act. But to say there's not a reason behind it, like when you look at anybody, like if you look at fucking serial killers, which I'm not a serial killer, if you look at their childhood, there's signs, there are reasons, and it all comes back to parenting. And I think that with every generation, it of course gets better, and that's good. but it definitely doesn't get you where you need to be sometimes. So I, in Florida, was struggling so much because I had been so, controlled for a long time that I had no individuality, and I had a hard time trying to figure out who I was as a person. And I'm still doing that. I am by no means solidified in who I am. But I felt guilty and wrong for trying to live my life away from people. And I didn't have support. And I didn't have people allowing me to make mistakes without judgment. And when you have, older people in your family, that is pretty much your only job besides unconditional love. So when you make your love conditional, and when you make somebody's mistakes, when you take somebody's mistakes and they're your kid or your granddaughter or whoever the fuck, and you judge them instead of supporting them, it doesn't make for a good time. So I went through a lot down there, and I had briefly talked about probably on my last podcast that I couldn't get a job, then I broke the wrist, and it was really stressful, and I was having trouble, pinpointing what was going on, and I finally figured it out when I had moved back in with my mother. And although it was scary, abusive, and treacherous, it was needed, unfortunately. And I honestly wouldn't trade it for anything, because I don't think that I would be here if I didn't get that surgery and come up for Christmas. I don't think I would be at the level of growth that I'm at right now. So I guess I just thank the universe for giving me my lessons and my trials and tribulations and all of it. And I'm also proud of myself for staying strong. And I've had a lot of weak moments. Kyle knows that, and Kyle has been the only source of love and support for me. And for that, I'm eternally grateful, and I love him very much. So it's just interesting. And I encourage everybody to really examine your family and friends, and even moving off of that, just friends and people that you surround yourself with. This is not going to be a podcast where I'm like, let's manifest and get your crystals out. Like, we're not doing that shit. But what I'm saying is, if you are not putting yourself into a place intentionally, you need to reevaluate that. If you are spending time with people that are wasting it, that do not respect boundaries that you have tried to set with them, if you are around people, sorry, I got an itch. Hold on. If you're around people who are just fucking sucking you dry, or if you just don't enjoy their company, stop fucking hanging out with them. And I am by no means saying that you aren't going to be lonely. I am lonely as fuck. And I am sad. But as my newfound favorite comedian, Brian Simpson, says, do not let anybody fuck with your peace. Do not let anybody fuck with your peace. Get rid of people that don't value you, that don't nourish you. Get rid of people that you don't want to nourish. Ask yourself why. Is there a good reason you don't want to nourish them and all that shit? Be mindful, of course, but stop at this whole. I think that there's still a, and this is going to sound so ridiculous, but that whole boomer mentality, and how boomers make you feel guilty as fuck for not wanting to hang out with your family and all this stuff. And I know that a lot of what's gone on in my generation has been pretty good about that, like getting rid of, family members, not getting rid of them, but just not spending your time with them or spending very minimal time with them. They've been talking about that and everything, but it's a big fucking deal. That's a big deal. Boomers have made you believe that, you have to stick with your family. Family's family. Oh, that uncle always be doing that, or Aunt Sue no, I don't fuck with that uncle, and I don't fuck with Aunt Sue. Like, I don't know why I'm expected to just accept abuse, why any of us are expected to just accept abuse, passive-aggressive comments, negativity, and just being around negative fucking people. We have to accept that just because they're our family? Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Absolutely not. I will cut you off so fucking fast now. Like, and I always was somebody that cut people off, and for some of the people that I've cut off, I do sometimes think about, and I do feel bad, because I'm sure some of it had to do with like teenage angst, and I'm like, I'm done with this motherfucker. But like, I've always been able to do that and been able to cut people off, and by no means has it always been easy, especially with my family situation. But I can't deal with this anymore, and I am refusing to ever have to just sit there and acknowledge that someone's a fucking asshole and just deal with it. No. Like, and I'm not saying I need to get up and fucking start screaming or anything. No. I just choose not to speak to you and not to spend my time with you anymore, because why would any of us spend time with people that don't value you? They don't value you. This is me, what I'm talking about, but I'll just say it. They don't value me. They don't like me. And there is an aspect and a component that is jealousy. And this is not anything that has to do with looks, because I think that's where, a lot of people's minds go with jealousy, just because, look at social media and how women look at women and men and sizing them up and all that shit. But people that are your family they can be jealous of you. That's fine. That's a human feeling, envy. But to not like you because you have something that they don't have, or not even jealousy, but like almost contempt because you don't enable them. So they're either jealous of something that you have, or the way that you do things, because they don't believe that in themselves, which that's your own fucking problem. That's a big thing with what's going on right now, is everybody needs to be validated by other people, and if you can't validate yourself first, you're fucked. So then we have all these people running around for wanting validation and all that stuff, and why are you expecting strangers to validate your fucking whatever? Your looks, your nouns, whatever the fuck. Like, you cannot walk around expecting people to call you whatever the fuck you say. People don't have to do anything for you. But when you are no longer enabling behavior that you don't see fit for grown people, they don't like that. And that just shows you how much better you are than them. And by no means am I saying that I am the best person in the world. None of us are. No one's fucking special. But choosing to no longer enable people just because they're your family, and we have to just accept that this person's a dick because he's family. We have to just accept that this person is abusive and an alcoholic because that's family. No. And I hope, if there's even one person that listens to this, that gets through to you, because you don't have to do that. It is not your job to tell a grown person that what they're doing is okay, and it's not your job to make them feel better about doing things that they know are wrong for themselves. And that was a big component for me, and that's very freeing, not only just in that, that's my ice machine. It's not only just because, I'm saving my time and my energy, which that's a huge part of it, but it's just like, that doesn't even have to go for family. That doesn't have to go for friends. Sometimes strangers are harder to deal with in that sense than family. But you don't have to put up with anybody's shit. That does not mean that you can walk around and scream and yell and swear and waving weapons and shit. But you don't need to put up with bullshit when you don't have to. And it's very freeing. And it's different. It's lonely doing that, because I think a lot of people are still stuck in that ideal world of everything's fine. It's not fine. Things are not fine right now. If you think things are fine right now in any aspect of the world, you are completely mistaken. But, so I guess that's going into kind of my other little section here about, boundaries. That's a huge boundary, is putting up a whole fucking wall and walking away. Sometimes the best thing to do for yourself is just to walk away. Sometimes you do need to fucking yell at a motherfucker, but to be able to simply walk away and say, I'm not dealing with this today. I don't deserve to be treated this way. I don't deserve to not be heard. And I don't deserve to be abused. And walking away from that, be proud of yourself for that. When and if you do that, it's very freeing. And what I mean when I say that it's lonely is that you lose a lot of people that you thought were there for you. In the sense that, I guess we could put it in simple terms of, you got those friends that you call to make plans with, and then you kind of do that thing of when you stop calling and they don't call you at all. It's like that, and I started doing that a while ago because that was a lot of the friends that I had picked out, and it's lonely because you don't have that outlet. But you have to ask yourself, would I rather sit with someone that I either don't like, don't respect, or that I know doesn't care that much about me, just so I don't have to be alone? Or should I focus on why I don't want to be alone right now and how I can make myself feel better being alone? And I'm by no means saying be alone, because no, I've been alone for, since I went back to Florida and then trying to find a job up here and everything. And it definitely sucks. It's not fun to be alone. But I've also been able to feel really comfortable with being alone. And I feel very, very confident in myself and very proud of myself. And I think I had talked about that, a couple episodes back, about how I didn't feel proud of myself. And just to see, or remember how I felt that way and how I just feel endless pride right now. Oh, that is fuck a friend. When you can sit there and you can feel immense pride and joy for the things that you've done, things you've created in the places you've been, that's something that grown ass people haven't felt. There's still grown ass people dealing with their fucked up families thinking that they got to. Think about that. There's still people that are being, abused by, their narcissistic family members, and they're like 50, just figuring out, hey, I don't have to do that. And I feel bad for those people, but I'm still glad that they're doing it. So feeling that confidence in myself and just feeling the way that I walk, I feel different in my body. I don't call myself fat anymore. I think a big part of that also has been, I don't have social media anymore. So there's days where I don't look at myself at all, barely. Or I forget what I look like. And I'm not, maybe it's disassociation or whatever the fuck people want to say, but it's I'm just not endlessly taking pictures of myself. When you're doing that, it's like the negativity thing I was talking about. When you're too negative, it just takes you over. When you're taking pictures of yourself consistently, all you're staring at is yourself. You're going to notice more shit. I feel comfortable as fuck in my body. I work out 6 days a week. I'm growing my muscles. If I look a little bloated this day, all right. If I look skinnier this day, all right. We're just going with it, because that's the least of everyone's worries. Is as long as you're not a fat fuck, you're all right. Maintain yourself and don't eat like an asshole and you're all right. But feeling that confidence in yourself and feeling that, I don't know, maybe, if anybody listens to this, you can comment below whenever you feel like that or when you started to feel like that. It's just confidently walking into my adulthood. And I feel like people are still doing that when they're like 30, 40, because nobody knows what they're doing. And that's another little segment I had and we can transfer over to that one. I talked to my friend Howie. Howie is I believe, 60-year-old man. We'll say 60 because I don't want to go any higher than that because I don't want to be mean. But he's a 60-year-old white dude that I worked with at that liquor store that was like my favorite job. And we hung out with them a couple weeks ago, and he told me, because I was saying, I'm just scared and I don't know what's going on, and this whole thing, like, I'm just guessing. He's like, we're all scared. And I said to him, wait a minute, you mean to say that you're 60 and you're still scared? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so what, you just learn how to be scared? And he said, pretty much. And I'm like, okay. Everyone is fucking terrified. Nobody knows what they're doing. So that's a big thing for me that I'm still trying to figure out in my head. Is that nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody. No, everyone is just taking a fucking swing and a guess. And realizing that there is, there's just no certainty. There's no certainty. There's certain things you can predict, but even those can go wrong. And it's just, you just have to, I don't know, except I call it giving up and giving in, and not giving up in the sense I'm done, I don't fucking care about. No, don't do that. But like giving, once you have to do it that first time with something big, and you just have to give up and let it happen. Like, unfortunately, say someone has to have a medical procedure and you don't know how it's going to go. You just have to stop even trying to think of where this is going to go because it's only going to make you scared. That type thing. Like, in my example, which is way less severe, is I was looking for a car when we got back up here, and we were looking all over Facebook Marketplace, and we were looking, on the side of the road and different cars and calling people. It was all this thing. And I'm looking for like a cheap fucking beater, like I always had. And I couldn't find one. And I was losing my fucking mind. I began to feel like a failure. And it's like, I'm not failing. I'm still looking. I'm looking for a car right now. It's just not working out. So instead, I shifted my focus to like, all right, well, let me see what's around here that I would like to work at. Okay, let me go fix my bike fix a bike since I don't have a car, so I can get to the gas station, get to the gym, get to whatever the fuck I need to go that's close by. I can ride my bike. And then as time moved on, I found a job, and I so happened to stumble upon a car that was $650 and still runs and has technically still less than 200,000 miles on it. So I'm over here, so what, those tires are rusty as fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck. I found it. And it's because I stopped focusing and it came to me. You know how they tell, chicks and dudes, it's like, so you got to stop looking for your person and you'll find him. Or you find her. Whatever the fuck. Like that. But I got my car. And I was like, all right, so you just have to give up and give in a little bit. And it's not, you don't need to surrender 100% because you still got to have a little bit of pull, a little bit of angst, a little bit of something. But dwelling and sitting and thinking and thinking and thinking, ooh, that's where the bad things start to happen. So you just have to stop. And that's what I learned. And, I was saying that just previously, I was blaming myself that I couldn't find a car. And it's like, no. I started focusing on the fact that, like, I don't want my depression to take over my body. I don't want to keep feeling the way that I've always felt. I want to feel different. I don't even know how the fuck I want to feel, I just don't want to feel like this. And the main start to that, the main thing I started doing that I probably talked about in the other episodes, talking nicer to yourself. It is hard. It is not easy, especially when you have been blamed for a grown person's actions your whole childhood. Not me. You blame yourself for everything. I blame myself for every single fucking thing. It was to the point where Kyle was looking, he's like, why are you blaming yourself for that? And that was something that I wasn't used to hearing, because I always took on blame. And the whole nice thing seemed like, oh, I'm nice to myself. Like I let myself eat this, and I smoke weed, and I go on my bike rides. I do the things that I kind of want to do. So I'm nice to myself. No, I'm over here calling myself a fat pig and and being angry at myself because my hair is falling out. And it's like, I'm not, what? I have alopecia. I shouldn't be, it happened. I have an autoimmune disease. It's not my fucking fault. Like, I blame myself for things I have absolutely no control over. And that's where I just stopped. It took a minute, it's been working out pretty decently, but it definitely took, about like 2, 3, 4 weeks, to get, your mind in that rhythm. And you got to change your circuits. You got to change those connections and shit like that. And, a lot of things that, a lot of people say that word trigger and shit. And I guess I like that word because it's the best for the situation. But, like, I'll have things pop up and it'll make me upset. Things that have been happening to me my whole life. And then I just started examining those and examining, my thought patterns, and was like, wait a minute, I remember I got upset about this, like 5 years ago. I've been getting upset about this for 5 years, we should say. Whatever the hell it is. If it's a certain chore that makes me mad, or if whatever. Okay, why the fuck does this make me so goddamn mad? When was there was that time, 6 years ago, when this bitch done said something while I was doing that exact thing. And now, ever since I have like a disdain towards that one thing, or it could even be like you hate a article of clothing because something, you gotta look back a little bit, but don't look back too far and don't look too deep into it. But try and connect those fucking things to how you used to act and how you act now. And if you act the same and you still don't like it, then you need to be changing it. And that is, I gotta open up this fan, I'm getting too hot. One of my triggers, I be getting too hot, it's fucking awful. But making those connections and seeing those thought patterns, and like a lot of it really occurred to me when me and Kyle moved back up to Michigan. I'm sorry if you can hear, I'm waving a fan in my face because I'm too warm, but yeah, I guess you can't hear that. I'll stop. Let me just get a couple good ones in. Okay. A lot of these things were I guess, coming up in my relationship. And, Kyle would be pointing out to me, here's one of those things. He told me in Florida, which I know I said that was when we got back up here, but that's when I really started making changes and stuff like that. But in Florida, he said, you shut down when you get angry, or you shut down when this happens or whatever. And like, no, I don't. And then I was like, I jump on his shit because I feel like he's being mean and he's judging me, because I was judged my whole life. He's not judging me. Kyle's not judging me. Kyle loves me. So he's legitimately asking why I shut down on certain shit that we talk about. And I said, I don't shut down. And then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I for real stomp off and shut the door and like go lay down. I shut down. Okay. And realizing that I do that, and that was not easy for me to stop doing, and I still have struggles with it. But that's a big one I'll give you. Like, and that's an example I can give you that's like really strong. It's like, he told me I shut down, and I never knew that I shut down. And probably some of that's because I have so much suppressed rage from my childhood, because I didn't get to speak on my emotions much. I did and I didn't at the same time. But I had no idea that I did that. I had no idea that I just fucking shut down, because I just thought I was just being a little bitchy. I thought I was being like, I'm gonna stomp off, and he gonna come in here, and then he gonna and Kyle is not a person that's gonna fucking come up to you and start having a deep ass conversation with you. So when he does, and when he be telling me, hey, you're shutting down, it's like, oh, he's for real. Oh, I'm shutting down. Oh, I'm completely disregarding what he said because I don't like it. And you cannot just disregard something that somebody says because you didn't like it. Let's just pause on that one real quick. You cannot disregard what somebody says just because you didn't like it, especially when it has to do with their feelings and their emotions. You hear that? Okay. It's a little hard for me right there. And I'm like, okay. And I noticed similarities of shit that I was doing that my family does. I'm like, ooh, we got to get rid of that. We got to nip that in the bud, because we cannot be transferring that onto my future kids or my dog or whoever the hell. I can't be setting that type of example, because that does not get you very far at all, as I've seen. So, yeah, I listen to the people that really care about you, and examine your thought patterns and why you decide to think a certain way. Why do you always call yourself fat? Why do you always call yourself ugly? Why do you hate that clothing item on you? Why, ask yourself those questions, because when you start asking yourself those questions, because it's hard to ask yourself those questions, because a lot of us, get caught up with day-to-day life. People are working, people are hustling, grinding, especially these days. But you got to set aside time, if you're at the gym, if you're in the shower, if you're just doing dishes or some shit. Ask yourself some fucking questions. Why are you getting upset over that, And then a lot of times you're going to think back, and it's going to be child you in that one time that something happened, that someone disregarded something that you said, and that's why you can't feel this with your partner. Whatever the hell it is, think about those things and ask yourself questions, because that is pure growth right there. And that's one of those things that, talking about, being alone. It's hard to be alone sometimes. It was for me, which is ironic, because I was only child, and I was alone a decent amount. My mom was at work and shit. But I just wasn't being mindful, I guess, of being alone, which you're young, so I don't blame myself for it, and you guys shouldn't either. But, I being alone and asking yourself those questions and writing down your feelings, which I actually, fun fact, I stopped journaling. I've journaled for probably 15 years, 12, 15 years, always was journaling. And I just always was writing negative shit, which, hey, that's good. Because sometimes it made me feel better, get that shit out, get it on paper, look at it, fucking burn it, do whatever. But I stopped journaling because I just, again, focusing on all that negativity. And I'm like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere with this shit. So I stopped, and I just started kind of talking to myself a little bit, even out loud if you have to, because it's normal to talk out loud to yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. And then being okay with being by yourself, because you're not really alone. You're by yourself. You got yourself. You're still an individual. You can still entertain yourself. You can do things alone. And when you start being alone, you start asking yourself those questions, you start connecting some dots, and you're making those shifts, and you feel the shifts after you start, you set out to make them, and then you're starting to do them, and you don't have to think about it that much, even it's like working out. It's just working out your brain. I'm by no means am I telling anybody how to act. I'm really just basically saying what I've been doing, saying what's been working for me, and acknowledging how proud I am of myself. Because you guys heard some of the stuff I said months back and how I was so confused, so lost, didn't know what the fuck was going on. I felt awful. And I just, again, not telling you what to do. I'm not a therapist. I'm not any of that shit. I am a 22-year-old fucking chick that is fucking raw dog in life and trying to figure this shit out. And it's not easy. It's not fun. And I was definitely, that big thing is you gotta have people that prepare you a decent amount, you know? And I don't think I was really prepared. I was prepared in the sense that, like, I knew how people worked. And I knew how people worked, but I didn't know how I worked with people. If that makes sense. Like, I knew from a young age, like, oh, this person's this person's that, this person's a bitch, this person's a dick because he did that. You know, like, I could see things. Plus, I was the only child, and I spent a lot of time with adults. So I definitely people watched, you know, and I picked up on behaviors of people and, like, how I could transfer those behaviors to other people. You know, I could see the same behaviors, and that's a category of a person. But I didn't realize how I worked with people. So, you know, from when I was working at that liquor store, I was a bitch. I was a full-blown bitch. And you know, I'm still kind of probably a bitch, but, like, and I don't mind that. But, like, it was unnecessary at times. I was extra. And, you know, part of that, I'm young and shit. But you really got to pick and choose your battles. You really got to pick and choose. And I didn't have a good example of that because my mom would fly off the handle all the time. So I didn't have the best lineup of, like, how you should behave. And I also didn't have my dad around. So there was no, like, respect of authority. You know, like, I respected my mother when I was growing up. Because, you know, she's the adult in the household and shit. But, like, there was no, like, authority. And then, like, no one, because my mom was, like, a friend, especially towards the end. Like, whatever. But I didn't have a secondary person there, so I could see how they might act, you know, and how, and you know, men can fly off the fucking handle like a motherfucker, and they be punching people, shooting people, all that stuff. But a lot of times, especially, you know, with Kyle and a lot of the men that I've been around recently, and, you know, even working at the liquor store, and I was still, you know, growing up and shit, men let shit go. They pick and choose the battle, because I think that they have, you know, women don't understand that we get away with a lot of shit. We are big manipulators, and not everybody, you know. I think we all have the capability of being one, if that makes sense. But you know, we get away with it, especially if, you know, you're pretty and shit. Like, we get away with a lot of stuff. They don't. They are what's the word? They are responsible for, like, all their actions. Like, they can't pin it on somebody else. So they really got to be careful and really got to evaluate their areas and situations. And I'm not saying by any means all men do this, because there's some dumbass motherfuckers out there, just like there's dumbass women. I've been one of those women that's been dumb as shit. Everybody has. But, like, they really got to pick and choose, and they really got to see what they want to fly off about, you know? So, and knowing, and I'm not saying, like, I'm trying to be a dude in that sense, but, like, just learning like that, you know? And especially, and I think having kids definitely calms a lot of people down, because, like, you can't be acting out and acting a fool when you got kids, because you can't be putting your kids in danger. So, like, there might be something you want to say to somebody, and I look forward to this, because I think kids would really help me. But I'm not ever going to have kids until I get my shit sorted out. But, you know, you can't no, you can't put your kids in danger, and you can't let somebody get the best of you, especially when you're out with them and your kids and stuff like that, because you got to keep everybody safe. Even when you're just out with, like, your spouse, your friends, you really got to see, it's like, should I get into this? Should I make this mistake, or should I move on, and of course, there's different circumstances, but yeah, that's something I've really examined. And I really respect men. Maybe that's something we'll talk about for a little bit, and then I'll head out here. But men and then this is a complete switch. This is not anymore talking about what should we say, growth and thought patterns and all that shit. This is completely different. Men are villainized in this society, and I think I probably touched a little bit on this in my past episodes, but I don't know. Okay, I do know. I do and I don't know where people get off hating so hard on men. I do understand that there's a lot of men out there that have treated a lot of women wrong. I know that. And I think that we have every right to be reserved and suspicious of men. I do. But we've just lumped them all together. We've lumped everyone in there together saying that men are assholes. Like, there are for real women out here, and I was one of them for a while when I was still living in a very liberal area. There are women that say, I hate men. I hate men. We don't even need them. I despise them. Okay, let's pause, right? Men have built this fucking country. Is it perfect? No. But is it all their fault? No, it's not. A lot of it, sure. But it doesn't even have to do with them being men. It's just somebody made a mistake. And I'm not forgiving any men that, murdered and raped and fucking fucked over women like that and shit. And no, because there are a lot of dudes out there that don't got no self-control. But to lump all of men in with men that do shit like that is just so wrong. And I don't think, everybody wants to talk about everybody feel your feelings and go to therapy. But as soon as a dude starts to feel weak, it's like, yeah. It's like, no, you just said that everybody should be, showing their feelings and all this toxic masculinity and shit. It's like, okay, you don't want toxic masculinity. Why don't you stop villainizing them? Because they have feelings too. And I think that when I had Kyle on the episode, we talked about that a little bit. But, like, men have feelings, and men are really lost right now. And I'm by no means, like, saying that, I have so much sympathy for men. It's like, I have some, for sure. But I don't have all, I gotta save some for myself and people I really care about. But these motherfuckers don't know what to do. They don't know what to say to y'all. They have no idea. And a lot of them be acting out, for sure. Yeah, everybody get catcalled and shit, and it's not cool. But there are really some awesome men out there who have no idea how to go about talking to women anymore, because there's this whole issue with any dude coming up to you immediately a threat. It's like, what if the motherfucker want to tell you your shoe was untied, and you want to pepper spray the bitch? Like, what the, like, you... And again, I understand we're suspicious of men. Give it like 0.0 seconds. Like, give it something. Because, like, not everybody is out to get you. Like, if you're alone in a parking garage and some dude's approaching, okay, fucking run, right? Run and be like, what do you want? While you're running. But to sit here and be like, all men suck, I hate all men, all men are trying to hurt me, it's not true. And I feel safest when I'm around men. Honestly. I mean, I'm not going to go put myself in a room of strange men, but since, being with Kyle and probably when I was in high school, like late, it was probably, I graduated during the pandemic, so it was right before, in like March, when everything went to hell. But like, I really like had like newfound friendships with dudes, and like I really understood like how they worked a little bit. Young men be dumb, but everybody young is dumb, including myself. But they are people too. They got feelings. They should be respected. And I don't understand, like, it's bothersome that these are the trends that are happening today. And then the fact that we're feminizing men. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want no dude in a skirt. Like, if you in a band and you got the nails painted black, all right, whatever. You a little different, or you emo or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I also don't care what anybody has to do with their body and shit like that. But again, that whole thing of saying, like, we have to validate it. It's like, I don't have to do shit for you. If you feel fine walking out and looking like a fucking crazy clown, that's good for you. Happy holidays, whatever the fuck. But if you expect everybody to support you, like, you're at a loss for sure. But oh shit, I kind of forgot what I was saying. Just about men, I guess. But yeah, I mean, they definitely deserve respect. And damn, I really wish I could remember what I was saying. I don't know. It's fine. But anyway, like I was saying, villainization of, the trends. That's what I was talking about. The trends of, everybody hating men or feminizing men, which I'm 22. And I've said that in this episode already. So I'm in the midst of this generational bullshit that's going on with Gen Z and how, it's okay that men wear skirts. It is. But if you want to be deemed manly, that's not going to help you. Like, so we're just really trying to take them down. I'm going to say liberal democratic people are doing that. And then now, blue-collar jobs that have always been a thing, always and forever been a thing, now they're becoming a trend. Now they done feminized all their men, and now the women have switched again, and the liberal, feminist, weirdo women have switched and said, blue-collar men, I want a guy that's, like, strong. Oh, no shit. Oh, you didn't like the dude in the skirt? Okay. You didn't like him in his little cardigan. Like, you didn't like your Harry Styles looking motherfucker. Go figure. Go figure. Your instincts, your primal instincts kicked in and said, this dude could take care of me. This dude works really hard and has muscles from his job. I like that guy. No shit. That is what the whole fucking country was built on, was blue collar men. And now it's a trend to have a blue-collar job, which is just, it's infuriating. Again, pick and choose how infuriated you want to get and pick and choose your battles and shit. But, like, it's interesting what's a trend these days. And also the interest in even being a part of a trend. Why do you have to be, nobody can think for themselves anymore. Everybody just goes with the masses because nobody wants to be different. And it's very unfortunate because it makes for non-interesting people and for a lot of trends to go in and die out and then leaving people looking weird. And and I don't get it. I've never got it. There's been some things, that have popped up in a trend that I've liked. I'm not going to say that I haven't liked them. Like, there'll be like a new trendy way to do your foundation or some shit. I'm like, all right, I'll give that a try, and like, it worked, all right. Or that new brand of a mascara you see that everybody's using. It's like, I'll try it, And I'm sure that that's what a lot of people are doing. So I'm not going to say that everybody's an asshole that's hopping on trends. But people that do hop on trends, please ask yourself, be standing there doing those dishes and start asking yourself these questions like, do I really like this, or am I just doing this because I'm on TikTok 24/7 and this is all I see and it's what I feel like I have to do? Ask yourself that shit, because it's a little cuckoo, and if you don't want to realize that they're doing this shit on purpose, that's a little red pill conspiracy-ish for you from your old pal Nina. But they're doing this shit on purpose. Like, they're trying. I feel like they're really trying to get everybody to be on the same page, and it's really not going to work because they're trying to get everybody to assimilate to something, but yet driving us apart at the same time. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't care at this point. There's nothing I can do but be me and be authentically me. But all I ask is, like, really try and pay attention to why you want to buy that $800 sweater. Why do you need that Gucci bag? What about that hydro flask that everybody has, or the Stanley cup? Sorry, the Stanley. That's the new one now. Why do you have to have a $50 huge ass dumpster cup? Like, I don't understand. You know, like, why do you have to have a tumbler so big you can fit in it? Why? But because everybody has it? Like, have you no individuality? That's my cue for you. But I don't know where anything's going. But I know I got a new set of rules for myself, and I've been doing good, and we're going to keep grinding. I don't really know what I'm grinding at. I know that I'm grinding to be a good person so I can have kids, and I know that I'm going to be trying to make some money here. I got a job at the smoke shop. I'm pretty sure I got the job. I haven't heard from them, but she basically said I had the job. She gave me a hug, so I don't really know what's going on. But I'd be really excited to work there. So that'd be cool as shit. And it's chill, super chill, and, you know, close to home, so easy to get to. So I know I'm chilling, and I know things are coming together for me, and I got faith in myself, and I got faith in everybody else, whoever the fuck listens to this. But I feel pretty proud of this episode. I'm going to say that right now, and I'm not editing it. I was really focused on that in the past, and like cutting out things I didn't want to be offensive. It's like, I don't care. It's you. That's your choice to get offended by somebody's words. Just remember that. Alrighty, y'all. You guys have a wonderful, at this point, it's the 4th of July tomorrow. I don't know when this will be up, but have a happy 4th, a safe 4th, a drunk and high 4th. Have some fun and enjoy them fireworks. And I will talk to y'all soon. Goodbye.